Morning.
Morning. I say morning, Edward Irby, when you're coming in.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Let's do it this way. Good morning, Sean.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Sean Schwartz. I have an appointment at 11.
Okay. Do you know who it's with, Sean?
Oh, you bet. And your name is
I'm
Teresa.
trying to remember the
I can look
Australian
it up.
lady's name.
Find that here on her.
The what?
The Australian lady?
Oh, Melinda.
Melinda, is
There
that
we
it?
go. That was at 1 o'clock, you said. Okay,
Okay.
let me get that.
Okay, cancel. Monica, not Melinda.
Monica.
Oh, I understand.
They're all new, so I don't remember
No,
their names.
I hear you
Yes,
there.
ma'am.
Oh, okay. And did you want to
Yes,
shoot
ma'am.
for another Friday, or is there another day or time that's better? I do have a 1 o'clock on April 24th, it's a Wednesday. Okay. Is that one? Oh, 1 o'clock.
Another appointment. The help that I need, I haven't gotten. I've been to probably 15 appointments since I've been to Cheyenne. There's also a bunch that I haven't been able to go to because I don't have the money for the gas. I ran out of gas yesterday again, and I got lucky. There was still about a quarter of a gallon left in my gas can in the back. Nobody should have to break the law to get the police to listen. The police in the state of Colorado, across the state of Colorado, took part in threatening, harassing, intimidating me. They didn't want to do their jobs. They assumed I was guilty, just like the general public. They turned a blind eye to that bag there, full of evidence. See, back in January of last year, it was just that bag. Since then, I've lost a lot of evidence, and I have 3 bags worth of evidence now. That's how much shit they've put me through. People don't want to hear me cursing. They don't want me to get angry. They want to tell me that I wanted it, needed it, chose it, and deserved it. I'm not allowed to use the word fuck, or people get pissed off. They're allowed to treat me like trash for being overwhelmed. Meanwhile, it's not illegal for you to be overwhelmed, is it? The help that I need is financial. I needed financial help because my money was stolen for trying to go to the police about the things that were happening. Police in multiple states,
Oh, yes.
from Chesapeake, Virginia, to Chapel, Nebraska, to Boulder, Colorado, Adams County, Colorado, Broomfield, Colorado, Larimer County, Colorado. Yeah, screw these people. Somebody should do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. It's unfortunate it has to be me. If I was a pretty girl, people would care. If I was black and in a house, people would care. Black Lives Matter only cares about black lives. Fortunately, there are individuals who are black who recognize that the real issue is poverty. See, somebody in a house might have money, might have support, might have people who will go to court and speak up on their own behalf. Whereas the police across the United States, for as long as I've been alive, have taken part in intimidating broke people, harassing homeless people, creating a system where homeless people are permanently homeless because they are permanently victimized monetarily for laws that are only against the law because they don't have a roof. So you charge them money and fines and jail time that make it difficult for them to get a job. And then you've got situations like in Boulder where you've got 122 beds and over 70 of them are for transitional housing. Hello?
How you doing today?
Piss poor and broke.
All right.
I ran out of gas yesterday. I'm sick and tired of going to appointments that don't do nothing because it's not getting me gas money. Which room?
Right in here.
Yes, ma'am.
You need water or anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I need gas. I had a quarter of a gallon of gas in my gas can. Luckily, because I ran out of gas yesterday, so whatever it takes to drive from Starbucks to here, I don't know if I have enough gas to get back there.
Okay. So I gotta ask you, are you recording?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you mind stopping that? Please.
Can I record
Why
these
not?
sessions because they're confidential?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that okay with you?
No, not really, but at the same time, whatever. How can I help?
Well, what do you want help with today?
I need a lawyer and I need gas.
Okay.
I had to miss an appointment last week because I didn't have gas.
Okay. Let's bring up your file. Alrighty. So, I was just speaking with Brandy to see where she's at with getting your Social Security. Start it up again. Okay.
I have warrants out in the state of Colorado, so they're not going to give it to me.
Okay.
I also have warrants out in Nebraska. That's the problem. I need legal assistance to get all of that back. You guys don't help with legal assistance.
we don't.
You keep giving me phone numbers. I don't even have the ability to call people because my phone no longer works.
Okay.
Because I don't have the money because I spend it all on gas to go to appointments for not getting help.
Okay.
So basically, all of these programs are set up just to waste money that poor people need in order to survive.
Well, we're trying to get you the help that you need. Okay. And there's, I want to say this in a nice way, but there's, if you're dissatisfied with the services, you don't have to keep coming. But at the same time, we want to get you the help that you need. Okay?
Well, the help that I need is a lawyer and an advocate.
Okay. And so I was looking at services in Cheyenne that might better suit you as far as the autism advocate, which you keep talking about, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And I was looking at the disability waiver. I don't know if you know about that.
That might be the piece of paper that I got last year. Too late for it to do any good.
Okay, because we were as a team we were talking about the legal aid. I'm not sure how we can help you with that. But as far as the autism advocate, which I know you keep talking about, the disability waiver is through the state of Wyoming. And Brandy can help you do that application if that's something that you're interested in. But
Yes, ma'am.
they basically get you a case manager. They're through the state, so they have more services to offer. I'm not sure if they do anything with legal aid. That might be something that we can look into.
That's the problem, is that people who are considered mentally ill are allowed to be victimized, and there is no help. You guys tell us to go to therapy when we're beaten up by the goddamn cops.
Okay.
I don't mean any disrespect by this, but I have literally spent the last 2 years trying to get an officer to take my goddamn report. I am sick and tired of getting assaulted for trying to make a report. I am tired of people trying to shove drugs into me for trying to make a report. I am overwhelmed, not fucking crazy.
Okay. And you know, from the story that you've told me, that's completely understandable.
It's not just a story, I have evidence.
I fully believe it. You haven't told me, you haven't given me any reason to doubt you. I think this tricky spot that we're in is that the services that you're looking for,
Don't exist.
and that's, I don't know what to say about that.
Between
honestly.
having services that'll actually help us or having services that basically make rich people rich and pour a bunch of money into places like this. I mean, sure, there are people who need therapy, but most of those people need therapy because they're not getting any actual help. So all they can do is complain about their problems.
Mhm.
I'm not just complaining about my problems. I am trying to make a difference. So the things that happen to me and the things that happen to a great many other people, especially in the state of Colorado, don't happen to others. I mean, the term mentally ill is used to monetize us, to make money off of our disabilities. But we don't make that money. The state makes that money. The cops make that money. They lock us up, they make us homeless, and then they say, you wanted it, needed it, chose it, and deserved it. Who fucking chooses to be mentally ill? Not only that, there's laws that are supposed to protect the mentally ill from exactly the situation that happened to me. And everybody says, well, we don't do that, we don't do that, we don't do that, we can't do that. There are no actual services. It's all bullshit. See, we've got the law, but then we've got no way to enforce the law. And then we've got officers who are investigating themselves. I was assaulted 7 times by police officers last year. And if we consider what the police consider assault, I was assaulted over 30 times by police officers last year.
Mhm.
So, given that fact, and the fact that if I go to Colorado, I will be assaulted further and have my voice prevented from being heard further, in addition to the fact that there is a time frame on my allotted time to get this evidence. There is a lot of that evidence that I'm not allowed to get because my public pretenders wouldn't do their jobs.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I am doing my best not to fucking melt down.
Mhm.
And people want to get pissed off because I use curse words now and I curse people out and I call them names. But
can
you know
curse
what?
at me all you want, and it doesn't bother me, okay?
I've gone through over 2 years of threats, harassment, and assaults over something that I didn't do.
Mhm.
And I just have to take it because I have a penis, because they call me mentally ill and it makes it okay. I was gang stalked by Natalie's entire family, and the cops absolutely refused at every juncture to take a look at any of that evidence. I literally had to break the law in order to try to force the police to take a look, and even that didn't work. They're crooks.
Mhm.
And the fact is, a sliding fee scale isn't going to pay for my gas to get here. It's not going to pay for my gas to get to the food bank. It's not going to pay for my gas to get to my hospital appointments.
Yeah.
And then people want to lock me up because I want my life to be over. There's a reason that I want my life to be over. I am not a human being to this society. I am an animal. Now, we got the issue of the 13th Amendment. We pretend like we fought the Civil War to free slaves, but then the 13th Amendment was enacted just after the Civil War and introduced during the Civil War, which made it legal for anybody who was considered a criminal to be used as slave labor. And then we created chain gangs. Now, after we basically lined the road to Charleston with black people hanging from the telegraph poles, most of the black people in the South, and now they're not slaves, so they're homeless.
Mhm.
And they made it illegal to be homeless.
Yeah.
So then they all got stuffed into chain gangs. They're slaves still, but now they're slaves for the state.
Mhm.
And that's where all of our issues started. Don't get me wrong, things weren't perfect before that, but ever since then, they have monetized homeless people to victimize them to the point that they are permanently stuck homeless. And then we say, hey, if you jump through our hoops, we've got programs that'll help you. And then we jump through those hoops, and those programs won't help us.
Mhm.
A lot of people abandon me because I'm overwhelmed and they don't like how I act when I'm overwhelmed. Meanwhile, it's just me. I don't get to see familiar faces. I don't even have an address to send things to.
Mhm.
I know one person here, and she said that I could use her address, but her husband doesn't like her having friends. So she gets in trouble for seeing me, for talking to me, for me going over there. As a result, having her address isn't going to do me any good either.
Mhm.
I'm overwhelmed, ma'am.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you've been through a lot and you're going through a lot right now.
Yeah. A lot of services that don't help. Sean, you need therapy. You need therapy. Fuck therapy.
Mhm.
20 different therapists aren't going to do me any good.
No, we need to get your basic needs met.
Exactly. But they're not met because I spoke out against the things that were happening to me. And the Boulder Police, I've been speaking out about their tactics for years. When Natalie died, they used that as their opportunity to destroy my name and assault the shit out of me. The officer's name is Lolatai,
Mhm.
and I have it on video. I have 3 bags of evidence that I've been trying to get for over a year for people to take a look at. And literally nobody will take a look. I need a place where I can sit down, write my story, and save that evidence and put it all together. The problem is, none of these places work for that. I mean, I went to that shelter place, that is run by you guys, and I went out there and I was told that I would be able to work on it out there and that they would make a special exception. And I got there, and first of all, there's women there who, with all the shit that I've gone through, I can't talk about the case there, let alone bring out any evidence or work on it.
Mhm.
And then there's the fact that I gotta listen to the staff members saying, well, you can't have your phone. You can't have your computer. You can't have access to this. You can't have access to that.
Mhm.
I need that access. That is specifically the help that I need.
Mhm.
Now, there are 2 ways of doing things, all right? Either number 1, I get the help that I need. Or 2, I'm stuck having a panic attack where all I can do is make videos and speak out. Now, I would like to do more than just speak out about this, but I'm sick and tired of people saying, if you go to this appointment and that appointment and these appointments and those appointments, if you tell me that you want me to go to an appointment tomorrow or next week or next month, it doesn't matter because as soon as I leave here, I am fucked. I don't have the money for gas to go to anywhere else.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm not trying to be an asshole about this, but I need actual services.
Okay. No, and I understand that. Like I said before, getting your basic needs met, I think, is a main priority right now.
But my basic needs have been prevented from being met because of something that I didn't do. And that's the thing, is that my disability, they took it away from me last August while I was in jail. However, I haven't been able to touch that money since January of last year because all of it goes to going to court date after court date after court date after court date. All right, none of my public pretenders did their jobs. I had 4 different public pretenders in Larimer County.
Mhm.
I had 8 different ones in Arapahoe County.
Mhm.
What the fuck gives?
Yeah.
I am a human being. I'm not a mentally ill fucking monster. And the things that these people did to me are fucking wrong.
Mhm.
So help me kill myself.
I'm not gonna do that.
I didn't figure you would. The thing is, I need actual help or I need my life to be over. I need this stuff to stop. I need to stop having to depend on predators because government programs don't do shit.
So I wanted to tell you that Brandy is in the process of getting the records from Colorado so that she can get working on getting your disability started up again.
I don't know how many times I've told y'all that they're not going to give it to me with warrants.
Okay.
That's the point, is that I need help getting a lawyer. I need an advocate to go in with me to help get a
And
lawyer.
I think that's the tricky part that we're in because the free legal aid that's offered here in Cheyenne only deals with women.
Yeah, and if I go to Colorado, then they take away my evidence again and they prevent me from having an actual lawyer. They give me a public pretender who shouldn't have a job. There is no reason for those people to have a job. There is no reason for those people to get paid to fuck us. The homeless people are completely fucking screwed. Most of the homeless people have jobs when they end up homeless. They just don't have enough to keep a roof over their head. And they think, I'll bust my ass for a couple of months and I'll be able to get up and out. A couple of months later, they've got 2 camping tickets that cost them $800 and 120 hours of community service. And people are like, you chose this. No, we didn't. If I go to Colorado to try to get legal services, I went through the same bullshit that I go through here. Nobody doing anything.
Okay.
I have stuff recorded on here that shows the stuff that I've been going through.
I believe it. I believe everything you're telling me. I'm just unsure of how we can help you with the legal.
That's the
Side of
point,
things.
is that I'm not a human being. That's where the legal side of things need to happen, is we need to establish basic human rights. If the rules are different for you than they are for me, then the rules need to change. If special rights are granted to you, then we're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody having money to buy themselves out of jail is immoral. The things that happened to me should not have been allowed to happen to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we got judges, lawyers, and police officers all over the news in Colorado in the exact places where I was at. For killing people, for raping people, for not doing their jobs. 2 of the officers who assaulted me killed a man last year.
Mm-hmm.
I was arrested in August and assaulted by those police officers in the end of August. They killed a man in October. So what's this legal place that I'm not able to call because I don't have any
That was the place that you call Equal Justice Wyoming that you called with Brandy last week? Or the week before?
except it's not equal justice.
Well, they can't help because they can't practice in Colorado. That's the problem that I understand.
Yeah, the problem with Colorado is that those ones aren't going to practice anyway because I'm fucking homeless. I'm not a human being to them.
Mm-hmm.
We criminalized homelessness and monsterized homelessness. Most women who are homeless because of domestic abuse. Most of the kids who are in the system are in the system because of domestic abuse.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get to learn the things that most people learn. They don't learn proper socialization, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And then we have to deal with that. We have to deal with the public bias and the hatred and the assumption that we must be wrong because we're homeless.
So what can I help you with today?
Gas.
Okay.
I'm assuming you guys aren't able to help with that.
Yeah. That's correct. We can help you with transportation as we have a bus that can pick you up and bring you to appointments.
The problem is I don't have a phone to call you. I have to go to Starbucks in order to use the internet, and I don't have the money for that either.
Mm-hmm. Have you been to the library yet?
Ma'am, I don't even know where the library is at.
Okay. Because the library has free Wi-Fi. They have computers that you can use, although I think you have your computer. They have study rooms that you can use for free.
Ma'am, I have a lot of stuff to go through, and I need someone to sit with me and go through it with me.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, trying to get a safe place where I can work on this. If I had a safe place where I could work on it and make those phone calls and do all of that, it would be fine. But it does me no good to go to the library at this point. I don't have the gas to go.
Okay.
And when I get there, is there somebody who's going to sit down and actually take a look at the evidence with me? Is there somebody who's going to be able to assist me? Because if not, I'm busy having a panic attack and I need help.
Okay.
People keep telling me, do this, do that, call this place, call that place, paying no attention and no mind to the fact that I don't have the resources.
Okay. Okay.
Getting my arrest record is not going to help me to get disability back. Clearing my name will.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't want to understand that. They don't want to take the time to understand what the hell is going on. They tell me pretty words and then get pissed off when I'm angry at them because they keep spouting pretty fucking words. Those pretty words don't help. You just gotta love yourself. I do love myself. I'm a wonderful excuse for a human being. Does that make me self-absorbed for saying that?
Not at all. I don't think so.
I saved lives for years, ma'am. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I rescued people from the Boulder Police Department in specific.
Mm-hmm.
What was done to me is immoral. And you know what? Black Lives Matter doesn't care because I'm not black. The homeless community, most of them endured the same things that I did growing up. And since I was accused of doing the things that I had to endure, most of the homeless people are against me. Then there's the ones who know me, but I can't go and see them because they're in the same area as the ones who assault me and threaten my life and threaten the lives of my friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the police won't do a damn thing about it. I need to be kept safe from Colorado. I need to have legal repercussions against the state of Colorado for the things that they have done, or I need my life to end. I am sick and tired of an entire life of physical and psychological torture because nobody is in my fucking corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's cost me thousands of dollars that I don't have to be falsely accused, falsely convicted, and have nobody in my goddamn corner. I get pretty words from people who don't keep their word, people who called me family, who go out of their way to show that they're not actual family. See, the biggest problem that I have had is not having a safe place, not having a place where I'm not surrounded by abuse, by people abusing each other, or even a wonderful house full of wonderful people and one abuser who is constantly there, constantly drunk and constantly being abusive.
Mm-hmm.
I need legal aid. People keep trying to shove therapy and fucking drugs into me.
Okay.
People keep telling me, you know, Sean, there's services that'll help you. And everywhere that I've gone, all of you prove to me that those services do not exist. Not unless you have money.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
And they took all of my money by falsely accusing me of assault. They went out of their way to prevent themselves from looking at any evidence of the people who were gang stalking me, which, by the way, is a felony.
Mm-hmm.
One of the officers, Officer Lolatai, he's assaulted at least 4 people in the last 6 months. The man lost his job. First they took his gun and they took his taser because he was improperly using them.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody in a house finally complained. And when that person in a house complained, they let him go so that the person in a house would drop the charges against that officer. And then as soon as the charges were dropped, they hired that son of a bitch right back on. I am after 4 police officers in Boulder in specific.
Mm-hmm.
5 if you count Officer French. I'm after Lolatai. I'm after Officer Herr. I'm after Officer Vanderleest, Officer Steinman, and Officer French. And then there's the deputies in Boulder County that I need to go after. That's the problem. When you speak out against an officer, they all work together to make sure that they cover the wrongdoings of that officer.
Mhm.
We're sorry we can't help you. We're sorry we can't help you. You just have to take it. You just have to take it. No, I don't. People can take the initiative to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Black Lives Matter wants to make a big deal about a man who was treated like he was homeless because he was black and make it like it's a race issue. It's not. He was targeted because he looked like a homeless person.
Mhm.
But he's black, so, and has a house. So Black Lives Matter gives a shit about him. Black Lives Matter doesn't give two shits about homeless black people. I've seen this time and again. And they sure as shit don't give a fuck about homeless white people. And although there are individuals that I've spoke with that are involved in Black Lives Matter who realize that there is a serious issue with how the homeless are treated and with the way that the mentally ill tag is used and utilized, the fact is, I want my life to end because you aren't able to help. None of these people are able to help. The law is set up to prevent people from having help when they are assaulted by the police, when they are falsely accused. I went to the police in Chapel, Nebraska and Boulder, Colorado before Natalie was killed.
Mhm.
And then after she was killed, they went out of their way to hide the fact that they didn't do their fucking jobs, including assaulting me. Fuck the police.
How have your interactions with the police here in Cheyenne been?
They're assholes. I got videos of that too.
Mhm.
Being homeless is victimized everywhere in the United States. Now, there were several officers who were nice about the fact that they were being assholes, but that doesn't detract from the fact that they're being assholes.
Mhm.
I've had interactions with 11 different officers since I've been to Cheyenne, or since I've been to Wyoming.
Mhm.
The fact is, Starbucks is a safer environment for me than the library.
Okay.
And even at the library, I can't make the phone calls that I need to make.
Mhm.
I have to run around to places like this hoping that you guys can help me with that. But
So, have you used programs like Skype or anything before?
I have Skype on my computer. I'm not very good at using it. I've only used it once.
Okay.
But I can't talk about any of this in a public place.
That's
And the
also-
library itself, even with those closed rooms, is a public place.
Mhm.
It also requires me to carry my evidence into the place, and I have 3 bags of it. I don't have a back that's capable of even carrying this backpack. It hurts me to carry this from out in my vehicle to in here.
Mhm.
It physically harms me to do so.
Mhm.
And then once I got it in there, I have to worry about it being taken or somebody else taking over the room. And these are all legitimate fears because it's legitimately stuff that I have endured already
Mhm.
and gone through already. I have had over half of my evidence stolen, and I have 3 bags of it.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, I gotta deal with a bunch of sexism because it seems to me like women feel as if they should be entitled to things that men are not. A man is just assumed guilty. Did you know there are over 1,000 women's shelters in the United States for every 1 shelter for battered men?
It's a need for sure. Something we deal with here in Cheyenne.
So I'm supposed to look at the bright side. The bright side is there's 34 battered men's shelters in the United States.
Mhm.
Now that's
That's it?
it.
Wow.
And there's over 34,000 for women.
I believe it.
I think it's like 36 or 38,000. It was actually an even number.
Mhm.
When a man goes through this, he must deserve it because he has a penis. He must be guilty because he has a penis. The woman is right because she has a vagina. And the police won't listen to a man. They tell him he just needs to man up. Meanwhile, there are more assaults against men by women than the other way around. I have seen at least 100 times in my lifetime where a man was beaten up by a woman, didn't even fight back, and that man is the one who went to jail.
Mhm.
Women should go to prison for that, same as men.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely.
So a lot of the evidence that I need to collect, I need to get a judge to sign for it.
Mhm.
I need an address to have stuff sent to before I can do anything, and I need a safe place to do that. I need a safe place with internet where I can sit down and work on all this stuff. Before Natalie died, I just needed a friend. But I couldn't see my friends because going to see my friends resulted in me getting assaulted.
Mhm. You said you had last week you had a restraining order? Was
Yes,
had a
ma'am.
restraining order against you?
There's 3, not restraining orders, protection orders.
Protection orders, I'm sorry.
Yeah. After trying to get Natalie and Alicia and Maddie to put a stop to the assaults and the threats, I exposed Natalie's dad with an email that Natalie had sent me, and she got a protection order. I wasn't allowed to go to court. I didn't have the money to go to court. And that doesn't matter. I must be in the wrong because I didn't go to court. And then they assaulted me last year, in August of last year, repeatedly. And I was supposed to go to court on the 29th of August for 2 more protection orders by the Bollinger family. By the way, this is Natalie's family, the ones who have been victimizing me for over 2 years.
Okay.
The police wouldn't look at any of the shit that they did to me, but then they want to go, all right, well, we'll poke you with a stick, and poke you with a stick, and poke you with a stick, and poke you with a stick.
Sean, please stand here.
Sorry.
Is that okay?
And after we're done poking you with a stick until you have to fucking defend yourself, we're gonna fucking punish you for defending yourself.
Mhm.
Maybe they shouldn't have poked me with a fucking stick.
No.
Meanwhile, I don't get to establish routine.
Mhm.
I don't get to see any familiar faces. I have no support whatsoever. I have no monetary support. I have no physical support. All I can do is fucking take the abuse. If my life is just going to be abuse, then goddamn it, help me get assisted suicide legal. That's the least that America can do. If I'm not human enough for human rights, then fucking kill me.
That's how you're feeling right now?
That's how I always feel, ma'am. I have been going through this my whole life.
Mhm.
My whole life, I needed somebody in my corner. When I was a kid, they drugged the fuck out of me because my parents were on drugs. I didn't choose for my parents to be on drugs. I didn't choose for them to force those pills into me. I was sad because I couldn't see my family.
Mhm. You said you were in foster homes?
Foster homes, group homes, nut hatches, where the fuck ever they wanted to put me. Wherever it is that the government could generate revenue by victimizing me. But I must deserve it because I have a penis. I must deserve it. See, when I was a kid, I needed somebody to stand up for my rights. Not just my rights, but the rights of all of the people in there. Most of the people I was locked up with as a kid were in there for speaking out about somebody who tried to fucking rape them. Most of the time it was their dad. And most of the time their mommy wouldn't listen. So they started cutting on themselves. And eventually they get to the point where they're like, all right, well, you know, I've been locked up so many times for trying to kill myself when really I was just trying to get attention so somebody would listen and put a stop to this. They finally go back and their predator they have to play nice with. They have to pretend that they were wrong. They have to pretend like they lied. Otherwise their family won't love them. Their family won't care about them. Their family will ostracize them and punish them. And I am sick and tired of this. I am not the only person who goes through this.
No, you're not. Unfortunately.
And then as an adult, I became the hero that I needed. I became the person who speaks out about this and does something about it. When I saw my friends freezing to death in Boulder, Colorado, I started passing out blankets so they wouldn't fucking die. While police harass them and threaten them and intimidate them, steal their blankets, arrest them, take them to the jail, refuse to book them, and drop them off in the middle of a snowstorm. That man's name was Brian Gray, by the way, and he is dead as a fucking doornail. He froze to death. But he's not the only person that the Boulder police murdered in that fashion, and it is murder. It's called murder by exposure. And they use it in Hardin, Montana often to kill people. There are over 100 missing people from the Hardin area. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, that's not far from here. That's just one state away.
Sure is.
It's right next to a Native American reservation, and that town is not that big. Their favorite tactic is to drive people out in the middle of nowhere during a snowstorm and drop them off. Just leave them there, miles away from anything. Now in Boulder, it's even worse because there's supposed to be resources, but there's not. You go to the homeless shelter and they steal your things. I've stayed at the homeless shelter in Boulder twice. Grand total of 2 days, because both times they stole from me. The first time they stole a violin, and the second time they stole a computer. Now, if I was able to see my friends, I wouldn't need a fucking therapist. The reason that I started seeing a therapist in Nebraska 2 years ago is because I couldn't go see my friends. And the few friends that I had in Chapel, Nebraska are either married to assholes or live with assholes or have their own ideas about shit because they've never been in that situation. They've never actually been homeless. Fuck the United States. Those officers belong in prison. And assisted suicide should be legal because of this. Assisted suicide should be legal for people like me who can only be abused because nobody fucking cares who is in a position to do something. And then everybody who's supposed to be in a position to do something turns me down. I'm sorry, we can't help you with your actual needs. But we can listen to you bitch about it.
So, do you think this is helping you at all being here today? Honestly?
No.
Okay. Is this something you would like to continue?
Ma'am, I need help.
I understand that.
If I don't come to these stupid appointments, I get treated like I'm not trying to get help. So I basically have to come to these fucking appointments.
I want to make sure that you're getting the help that you need, which I feel like Peak is unable to provide you from
Yeah.
what you're telling me.
Well, the people from Live said that Peak is the people who are more equipped to help me. And then Peak isn't equipped to help me. And at least two of the people here said I need to talk to Live.
Okay.
So there's all these
Well, we can-
fucking services that are getting government funding and getting private funding that don't help.
Sean, we can help you, but we can't help you in the area of legal aid.
Well, what area are you able to help me?
With therapy, with case management, which only goes so far, as you said, with the warrants that you have in Colorado.
Case management doesn't do anything.
Okay.
I need people to sit down first of all and find out what's going on so they are aware of the situation and aware of the things that are going on and aware of all the hoops that I've already jumped through. I mean, financially, coming to this place has ruined me.
Okay.
And not that I wasn't financially ruined before that, but I don't have the resources to even feed myself. Giving me the number to a food bank when my phone isn't even on and I don't have gas to get there does me no good.
Yeah.
Giving me the numbers to resources when there's no witness there to say, hey, this is what's going on. That's why I record things.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to record things last year when I truly needed to. And the evidence that I had last year that could have condemned those officers and the Bollinger family, as well as Danica Garner and Shelley Campbell, yeah, I still have a lot of that evidence. But the most important evidence was on a telephone.
Mm-hmm.
And that telephone got lost.
Yeah.
And I had no help getting that telephone back. And I need to have a place for at least 30 days before I can get my phone records requisitioned by a judge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a human being because I don't have money. And I'm sick of this. I'm sick of being told, go see a therapist, go see a therapist. Do you have any idea how many therapists I've seen in the last year? Just in the last year, I've seen at least 15.
Okay.
Add 5 more from the year before. It's over 20 therapists in 2 years. And none of them were able to help.
Mm-hmm.
These predators did all that they could to prevent me from the things that an autistic person, and not just an autistic person, everybody needs these things. Everybody needs friends and a familiar face and positivity in their life. And I don't have it. I don't have any positivity in my life. The one friend that I have in town, when I go see her, she's sad and depressed because her husband treats her like shit because she's sad and depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what she does, she's doing something wrong. And she's not allowed to have friends because he doesn't like her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck this country. You're right, I don't feel like your services are helping, but I have to go. Or I get told I'm not trying to get help. The help that I need is legal and monetary. And this here detracts from both of those.
Mm-hmm. So, if you feel like you have to come to these appointments, what can we do to turn it into a positive thing? So you feel like you're actually getting something out of this and it's not a waste of time and money. Because I don't want to waste your time and money.
It doesn't matter, I have to come anyway.
Okay.
If I don't go to therapy, I get treated like I'm a piece of shit for not going to therapy. So I go to fucking therapy. I needed my family to give a shit, but they don't. People just watched.
Mm-hmm. They didn't step in?
Oh, people stepped in for sure. They stepped in to victimize me more. And then I had people with pretty words saying, I'm going to help, I'm going to help. No, the fuck they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't help how they said that they would. They didn't help how I needed, even after saying that they would. I got to deal with a whole bunch of people who wanted to treat me like shit because they didn't keep their word and didn't care that they didn't keep their word. I must be some sort of a terrible person because Justine Marks didn't keep her word. Because Katie Cahill didn't keep her word. Because Missy Layla Johnson didn't keep her word. Because Dan Faber didn't keep his word. My mom didn't keep her word. My sister didn't keep her word. My older brother doesn't give a fuck. My dad didn't keep his word.
Mhm.
What these people wanted to do is shove help on me that, first of all, fucks me over. All right? I needed to be able to get legal information sent to an address. I was at my dad's house specifically for that purpose. But he wants me to have this fucking vehicle that I can't afford without an income. So, in order to receive his help, I agree to take this vehicle. Now I have a vehicle that I don't have the money for. But I didn't get the help that I was promised. Instead, I got verbally and physically abused by my father. Now, we're not talking about physical abuse like hitting me because he's a fucking weakling. But he stood in the doorway and prevented me from leaving. And then he screamed at me for 45 minutes and wanted to whine like a fucking bitch when I screamed at him back. You shook the whole house! Yeah, goddamn right I did. If you're gonna scream at me, I'm gonna scream at you back. I am done taking abuse and having to walk away. You know what? When it got to the point where walking away got me abused even more, that became no longer a fucking option. When I left Virginia, I was walking away from that situation, to get away from that situation, because I knew what the fuck was going to happen if I didn't. And when I left, it fucking followed me. I couldn't see my friends or my family for over a fucking year without being threatened, intimidated, or assaulted. And then she died, and it got worse. And we can listen to you talk. We can waste your resources. You need to go to therapy. You want to take some drugs? Meanwhile, these same motherfuckers are the ones accusing me of being on fucking drugs. You're a drug dealer. Like hell. I've never sold so much as a fucking Advil. What I'd like to do is show you all the evidence of the shit that I'm going through. I need an advocate. Before I can get a lawyer, I need an advocate. Not a legal fucking advocate, but somebody who understands autism. Somebody who understands PTSD. Somebody who understands the situations that we face. But people won't take the time to understand those.
That's what I'm here for. I'm taking the time to listen to you, okay?
Yes, listen, but not to do anything. That's the problem, is that I'm wasting my resources for people to listen, but not to listen to help.
Okay. No, I've been looking. I spent a couple of hours yesterday looking online for you, trying to find legal help that could help with your situation.
So you're realizing at this point how fucked I am and how there are no resources.
I am, honestly. And it makes me sad, because there should be resources.
There should be, and there's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. There's supposed to be, and there isn't.
And then because I'm overwhelmed, people want to get pissed off like I'm pissed off at them. No, I need somebody to understand and help with the resources that are supposed to exist but don't. I mean, you spend $400 to jump through hoops for $20 worth of services. Have you really gotten help?
Honestly, probably not.
The rich get to victimize whoever they want.
Definitely.
I'm tired of that. Now, I did have some people that were trying to help me last year, but it didn't do any goddamn good. It's because they didn't want to understand. They didn't take the time to understand. And I was dealing with crazies who I wouldn't have had to deal with if the cops had done their goddamn job. People were too scared of the police to come forward. How fucked up is that?
I believe it. It's fucked up, but honestly, it doesn't surprise me.
So that one friend I got in town, she's got kids. She's got a husband. She's got her own set of problems. And she's the one who gave me the gas money to get to these places.
Okay.
That's all the monetary assistance that I've had since I got here. And she's not rich.
Yeah.
She's also not allowed to talk to me. She gets in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Like she's a terrible person or something for having a fucking friend. And that's not the only place where I have to deal with that kind of abuse. And that is abuse.
Mhm.
Separating somebody from their loved ones is a form of abuse and control. I grew up in the system. I know all about all this stuff. I have a first-hand education in most of it. Most people who have to go through this, as far as therapists go, they get to hear about it secondhand after they became adults because they were interested in something. Well, it's nice to be interested, but being interested is different from living it. Like with autism, the freeze loop. People want to get into the freeze loop themselves. It's not just an autistic thing. My dad's stuck in the freeze loop permanently. The way that he has it in his head about my life, that he hasn't bothered to find anything about in the last 22 years, the things he has in his head are 100% correct. And he says the same thing over and over and over again, and brings up the same situations over and over and over again, to try to determine, or to try to basically treat me like shit for trying to explain what's actually fucking going on. No, Sean, you're wrong, because even though I wasn't there, I know better than you. And he uses the freeze loop, not understanding what it actually is. I'm stuck in a fucked up situation, which is why I am stuck thinking about it. I don't have the ability to go see my friends and family without taking abuse, without having to worry about them taking abuse. My one friend here, she has to deal with verbal abuse for being my friend. Same time next week?
If it helps you, do you want to come?
It doesn't help me and I don't want to come, but I will be here.
Okay.
What time?
11 o'clock. Does that work for you?
11 on Wednesdays, yes ma'am.
And if you need a ride, give us a call. I know. Okay? Or I can come pick you up somewhere. If you want me to meet you somewhere, we can just set up a spot and we can meet there and I can come pick you up and bring you back here.
Starbucks.
Which Starbucks?
You go that way
The one
until you hit,
downtown?
I believe, is it Central?
Central.
And take a right?
Do you want me to pick you up there?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. I'll pick you up there. Right before 11.
Yes ma'am.
Sound good?
Yes ma'am.